close proximity here. Strokes gained tee to green, #1 on the PGA Tour this season. John McGinnis will be tracking this group for us today.
Yeah, this is a ball striker's delight right here, this group.
Not as good as he wanted.
This is off the left bunker, fading up the left center of the fairway. Gorgeous.
We will probably see that a lot from Morikawa today.
I'd like to point out that the first tee and the 10th tee didn't used to be this close together. But I don't think they can stretch it out anymore. Rahm had a really nice warm-up session. This needs to fade.
Might be right down to that area where Reed was earlier. And Schauffele, last of the group, to tee it up here.
Really a lot to like about his game. And his honesty about the difficulty in finishing off golf tournaments. That right there will never hurt you, though.
You do have to tackle it head on, John. 8 times he's finished second since his last victory. You talked about all the renovation and the changes and everything. There have been, I think, 5 new, they call them new professional tees that have been done here at Muirfield Village, adding about 100 yards.
That was just earlier up ahead, and that was not up to snuff for Reed in his short game standards. Now a birdie putt for Thomas on the way here.
We got it to the correct level, pretty flat here. And opportunity missed.
Nice gesture from Justin Thomas presenting Michael Visacki with a little check, a little personal contribution to Visaki's chase of the dream.
And I hope there's only 2 people that know what that check was written for. JT and Michael, and that's where it should stay. It was a heck of a gesture. Maybe it's enough to, what his Honda Accord's got about 170,000 miles on it.
Visacki Monday qualifying for the Valspar, then receiving a sponsor's invite into the Charles Schwab Challenge a week ago. One of the really heartwarming stories of this season.
Matsuyama with a great read. Don't play this outside the hole after seeing Justin Thomas, and overcompensated.
Seven seasons after Matsuyama's first victory on the tour right here. Starts his day with a par, and Reed will have outside 10 feet of work to do for his par.
Yeah, we marvel really at the short game and the putting prowess of this 30-year-old. He actually said it stems from when he was 13, 14 years old, playing in these AJGA events against 17, 18-year-olds. He was outdriven by 50 yards. It forced him to sort of learn the nuances of the game. And it's pretty remarkable here that he gets out of position, able to get the ball up and down. No hesitation, this man's putting. And he has this demeanor, this aura that he looks like he's going to make them all. And he's surprised when he doesn't.
Usually does. Third best on the tour in strokes gained putting, but Par attempt was outside the range that Reed would have hoped for. So a drop shot at the back, par of 36 on each side here.
And just 3-wood here. 588 in these damp conditions. Maybe you just decide that it's going to be a 3-shot hole.
Back at 10 here, John. We got a couple of less than favorable lies over there from what we see.
Well, look at the 3 different predicaments of these guys and realize these balls are all within 20 feet of each other. Rahm will be first from just inside 180 yards, and he'll do extremely well to get this on the green. This came out very low. Will it chase? Oh, it's going to overchase.
No, that was pretty remarkable. Went all the way down the shaft. John sort of stepped through, got on the upslope of that back bunker. That's pretty good. You see all the way down to the steel, out of the rough, severe downslope, chase it through, great contact, strength, huge advantage there.
No, I don't think so either. Love it. You okay starting up the pin, letting it lead to that private development? Absolutely.
Morikawa from 173.
76 hole, trying to pitch a 69.
I'm always amazed and impressed with him and his shot shape, in that this is a back left flag, and he's going to start this ball left of the flag because he knows it's going to fall to the right. And of course he didn't that time, but when sometimes he does.
Well, first on tour, proximity 175 to 200. That was sort of the right play, I think, John, early. Just started at the flag, and if it overcuts, at least you're still on the putting surface. Oh boy.
Like I said, these 3 golf balls were within 20 feet of each other, and 3 totally different situations.
This has to be the worst of the 3 of them, John.
You could do a lot of bad stuff with this.
Yes, you could. Get it that far
Above your nearly waist high heel digs. Yeah, you're right. It could go anywhere.
The only toe shank I ever hit in my career was on one of these, and it went dead right out of bounds.
It's a good framing something quite nice there, John.
Well, I mean, you might just want to advance this 50 or 60 yards up the fairway, but it looks like he's going to try to hit it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a tee ball. You get it up on a tee, aim way right, and just sort of flatten the whole circular motion, plane of the swing. That was really good contact. Amazing. You're getting this thigh high. John talked about with the roundness of the path here, that you potentially could hit it out of the toe. Sometimes you get it that far above and that far down the steel, you could get the heel first. Pretty much as good as he could have done from there.
That was a rope double down the left field line for Schauffele. Up at 11. Just earlier.
Yeah, more aggressive play from JT. We've seen the power hooks. That's what was required on this tee shot, but it's tough to do it with the water sort of lurking down the left.
Reed, 12th best on the tour in birdie percentage on the par 5s this season.
Jumps out of the way of that left foot. He's done some good work with David Ledbetter. Obviously, some Sean Hogan has sort of popped in there. 63rd this year.
12 events remaining in the regular season. All right, Schauffele's third, just below the level of the green here, John.
Just a little bit of this brow from the bunker to his left is going to influence the first bounce here. And they're trying to read that bounce. And how far forward is it going to skip, and how much to the right is it going to skip? A good lie on the upslope.
It seemed like the contact was good there. John just didn't quite carry it far enough. Maybe a little uncertainty, lack of commitment.
Thomas missed the fairway with his drive here at 11.
He's going to try and force something down there as far as he can with a long iron. Take it down the left-hand side in this area here at those trees for that front right hole location.
John McGinnis said it earlier, this is regarded as a second shot golf course, but these par fives will make it a third shot golf course, and especially with the soft conditions. Now Rahm from the upslope of the bunker here at 10.
Yeah, but everything's straight downhill to the hole, and he just flew that too far.
Hideki will lay this one back up at the par 5. That's not what you want to do.
No.
And maybe with the Pro Tracer there, it might have had a little nut on the ball to get it going left.
Another green hit for Colin Morikawa, best on the PGA Tour in that department this season, John, at 72%, but a long one here for his birdie.
It's a long one, but it's not all that complicated. It's just going to drift from right to left. It's not uphill very much. I don't think that this is a tough two-putt by any stretch. It will definitely be hooking at the end.
Guys that struggle in putting is 180th this year, struggle with speed. So that one was beautifully judged.
Maybe the lack of complication, as John McGinnis mentioned, pretty much freed him up there.
Par for Morikawa, and we'll move back up to 11 with Reed here.
Yeah, it's just too far for the second, from close to 280. And huge mistake there from Reed. That'll get the blood to boil when you lay up with an iron and you miss the fairway by 20 yards.
And back to 10, and Shoffley with eyes on this par saver from outside 12 feet.
All right, this is dead uphill. And should go just a little bit left to right early and then straighten out up at the hole. Oh, yeah.
Set or cut, no doubter. Hard-working par for the X-Man to start the week. And Rahm for his par, the back end of the sand save here.
Sometimes when you make the great save at the first hole you play, it opens up the floodgates for good stuff.
Get a little fiery at times. It'll be interesting to see how he approaches the next hole, if he's more aggressive with the driver than he'd ordinarily have been if you'd got the save.
John Rahm's title defense begins with a bogey here at Muirfield Village.
Opening opening round action. HidekiMatsuyama's third at 11. Chantel McCabe and Billy Kratzer with you now.
Good morning, Chantel. Ooh. It gives you an indication just how thick this rough is, and that has eased into the penalty area as well.
Thick and wet rough. JustinThomas's third shot here at 11 as well.
Yeah, this is where he's usually just so spot on, and a little bit of spin there underneath the hole, but good look at birdie.
Yeah, they move this screen 5 yards to the left as PatrickReed takes his turn. A guy you expect to have the short game dialed in.
Out there and try and get up and down the floor.
I think he's going to lay this up. He and Kessler, you know, I heard Kessler say, I don't mind if you just lay up. And I've got to tell you, it's been a long time since I've seen anyone on the PGA Tour lay up with his third on a par 5.
Sometimes you got to take your medicine. Colin Morikawa at the tee at 11.
You know, just a 3-wood, tossing it down there, short of the bunkers.
Pretty cool. We get to see all of these changes made to the golf course. Almost every single hole had some kind of tweak or renovation. PatrickReed taking his medicine, his fourth shot.
Yeah, 80 yards, control the spin. Saw what JT's ball did. Zip it back. There you go. It's going to be a little too much, but still okay. Put him back up the hill. It's almost unavoidable, spinning the ball from that distance, the tilt in the green.
Xander Schauffele now at the tee at 11.
Different strategy. Good tee shot here. He may be able to scoot it down there where he's able to take a shot at this par 5 and 2, and that had a little release on it.
Yeah,
Really, that was head high.
All right, now we see what Hideki Matsuyama can do out of this thick stuff with his fourth.
Ooh, that is tough looking primary rough right there, and short shot, you make a big mistake, but it's going to have to make that for par.
Jon Rahm now lining up really left here.
Well, he's going to go for a big cut, and he's going to go ahead and give us a pretty good swat. And he did everything he wanted to accomplish there with that shot. And that's the difference in ball flight right there, Chantel. Schauffele took it downstairs, kind of hit the speed route on the left-hand side. Rahm's just kind of dug in.
There's not one way to get to the hole. JustinThomas.
Now this for birdie. Just a touch out of the fringe right there. That's a couple of putts on 10-11, but the pace just slightly off.
And it doesn't matter how many times you've played here, especially reading these greens with all of the things that Jack Nicklaus has done. It's kind of a reset for everyone. So experience doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to reading these greens this year.
No, and the 12th, the 14th, they remained unchanged. But from what I've seen of the golf course and what I've listened to with Jack explaining why, what he did, how they did it, I like it.
PatrickReed with almost 14 feet for par.
Well, you can look at that number at the top. He's pretty good inside 15 feet.
He's
And he seems to get around this any golf course with the fewest number of putts.
A lot of people like him on this golf course, second shot golf course.
This would be a hard-working 5. He does it a lot.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Save par, man, however you can.
I just keep shaking my head every single time he does it. But it seems to be ordinary for him.
Back it up to the fairway where we find Colin Morikawa and John McGinnis.
Well, 306, he had 3 shots all the way from the beginning here. He had a plan.
That stays safe. Has a different angle than the group in front of him. Back up to the green now at 11 with HidekiMatsuyama for par.
Yeah, this one's going to break sharply towards the front of the green.
A little too much. What do you see for Schauffele's second, John?
Well, he had 270 to the front, and I think he has 270 in his arsenal, but this is clearly the prudent play.
Yeah, you
Lay it
kind
up to a number.
Yeah, you kind of look at this whole location, Johnny, and what I've seen with the wedges, anything over the green, you put it above the hole. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it any closer than a wedge anyways.
A bogey opportunity at the par 5 here.
Okay.
Clean it up.
It's tough to swallow,
Yep.
bogey on a par 5, but
You and John Rahm, the defending champ, with his second.
After that gorgeous drive you guys described, 267 to the hole. And that's a little bit back into the breeze, cutting off the flag.
Okay.
yeah. Heard Adam say okay. It is.
It's safe. We've seen worse second shots at this hole.
Yeah, not a lot of green to work with from there, so he may opt to kind of keep it low, keep it on the ground from there.
Now we'll see 12 for the first time today. Justin Thomas's tee shot at the par 3.
180 yards, and now you're factoring in just how much of an elevation drop it is. Somewhere around, I'm going to say 4 or 5 yards. You can take off that yardage. So effectively, 175, 176 is a shot required. I would say 173 works as well. Good shot, JT.
Going for the pin all day. Justin Thomas has talked about how frustrating it's been the last few weeks, even though he is the reigning Players Champion, about how he's just not seeing the results, especially when it comes to putting. But when you not get that close, you don't have to worry too much about that.
All you need to do is cap off 1 or 2, and then you get a little confidence, and then you can move forward, and then once you move forward, then you take it to that next step. So
Building blocks.
exactly.
PatrickReed.
Interesting, he's on the left-hand side of the tee over here. He's just going to go ahead and play that normal little right to left shot. Perfect weight.
PatrickReed was describing the renovations to this golf course and said he has never seen rough this thick. And that includes at major championships. So that's saying something, isn't it, Billy?
Yeah, this is some kind of thick. Growing up in the Midwest, this was the tournament closest to my house. And having played many memorial tournaments, yeah, you just take a look at this, and I think this is the way it should be. The fairways are generous enough that if you put the ball in the fairway, you're fine. If you do drive it errantly, you should pay a price. That's right at it, by the way. Oh, we're a half a club short. All depends if it has plugged in the bank of the bunker.
He's got some serious rain pants on. He was ready for this weather. It's going to be raining all day today with some projected lightning this afternoon. Xander Schauffele's third.
That's from 111, from what Billy will call the step cut.
Acceptable. If it stays right there on the fringe.
Okay.
Yep.
Pump the brakes as we see Colin Morikawa from 100.
Yeah, playing up the hill, he has to control that spin as well.
Well, it's a tough proposition. I mean, it's almost like, you know, the ball just sits there, just spinning, you know, like dragsters cleaning off their tire before they start that race, and then all of a sudden, it just rips back.
That's the perfect analogy. It's complacent, and then it zooms away.
So what looked like it was going to kind of be a birdie tap in, now he's got some work.
Yeah, grinding it out on this par 5, man. But you know what? These par 5s are not necessarily gettable.
Well, and I like the fact that, and we're going to get a chance to see the 15th hole, but I like what he's done with the par 5s and making the greens a little smaller on a couple of them, make it a little more challenging.
John Rahm is opting for a wedge here. John.
Well,
Oh,
okay. When he went back to the bag, I thought maybe he had thought better of it. He could get this close with any of the 14 clubs in his bag. He could roll it. He could hit a little pitch and run. He's going to opt to land this just short of the green in the fringe.
I didn't see that check.
I didn't either. I thought you nailed it.
Thank you.
Adam Hayes likes it.
That's a good shot. A little touch
Yeah,
shot right
sometimes
there.
you hit it. Billy, sometimes you hit it just like you wanted to, and it just doesn't end up where you thought it would.
Correct. Exactly. If you do everything you want to, doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect in a tap in.
I got to see it going the other way, which so did Colin, and it wasn't doing much. This is pretty much straight up the green. It might fall to the right as it dies, but not a lot of break in this.
Yeah, just kind of hung out there on the right. Boy, these fairways are good. That ball never wobbled once.
Amazing how smooth everything looks, considering it's not even a year old when it comes to all of the changes made. Xander also has a birdie try.
I would say the playing areas are reminiscent of a golf course Jack won a few times on in April's.
A little south of here.
It has that look, Billy. I mean, it's obviously it has more rough, but boy, the fairways and the greens and the coloring and the conditioning, I don't know that they could really improve upon it.
Yeah. Pretty close correlation between the two. Just a little more speed.
John, from what you're seeing out there, what are some of the more compelling changes?
I mean, all the par fives got a complete facelift, which I love. You know, the longest players can reach some of them. The shorter players are going to lay up.
As we get a view of this bunker at 12 with HidekiMatsuyama.
Yeah, it all depends if it's plugged, Chantal.
Of course, we can't see just the exact wrong angle.
Yeah. It was not the firm as sand. You don't want to make the mistake of trying it over again, so you just accept the fact you're going to have a 10-footer.
John Rahm also with a birdie try in this group, John.
This one to bounce back after the bogey at the first, and that's good.
Patrick Reed now. Birdie opportunity from a long range, Billy.
Yeah, just inside 30 feet, but you get a good look at it here, Shanton. You can see it looking well left and then kind of crossing the ridge right there. I just get that feeling that when I watch Patrick Reed and you give him greens like they have here at Muirfield, I just get that feeling that he's going to make it from wherever he might be positioned on the green. He's just one of those guys that every time he puts the putter in his hand, I think he's going to make it. For years, it was Steve Stricker. Of course, Crenshaw, you know, Tiger for years. But he kind of fits that category for me.
And wouldn't you say it's not so much the talent, the skill, the feel, but it's more the willingness to get it to the hole?
Attitude and mindset.
Yeah.
Goes a long way.
Matsuyama from a little bit closer distance, but this for par.
Yeah, down the hill. Has to be a little careful. We're trying to move a little bit to his right at the end. There you go.
Boy, the pressures he must feel from being the first male Japanese player to win at Augusta National.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Thomas capitalizing off of that tee shot.
This would be a nice get right here. You make it, but that's going to add to the frustration. You've had 3 pretty good looks, yet to make one.
This early on in your round, is there anything you personally do? I mean, still plenty of golf.
You know, I just think you just have to just kind of know that it's going to happen. You have 15 holes left, and you try to relax. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you want to be under par, but if you can get through, get to 15, if you can make the turn a couple under par, you're fine.
Jon Rahm now teeing off at 12, seeing if he can set himself up for a birdie try.
Well, the flag hanging limp, the pond in front, a mirror, not a breath of wind.
It's a beautiful hole.
It's kind of one of those holes that Jack tinkered with it for years, and he's gotten it right, or at least in his mind, he's gotten it right, and he's satisfied with it, and he should be, because it is an awesome golf hole.
Do you think when Tiger made 8 here, that was it? Jack said, okay, we got it right?
Probably so. That's probably the gauge, right? It's one of the only holes on the golf course that, for all intents and purposes, went untouched in the last year.
I'm going to put that in my notes, Johnny. Hallmark. Should be a great hole location for him, John.
It absolutely should. Aim it at the fat part of the green over there to the left and do what you do. He doesn't like this one, though. Oh, he one-handed that. Really? He one-handed that.
Well,
Oh, you can never trust the reactions.
he kind of fits what a Jason Day or a more Matsuyama.
All right, trying to bounce back from that frustrating par for Justin Thomas.
Good golf swing. Didn't try to force it. Just a little bit of run out. Last year, these fairways were so quick.
It's like a bowling bumper lane, kind of knocked it back into the fairway. Xander Schauffele.
This has his attention. Has everyone's attention.
I would say, you know, pretty much going to pepper this flag stick with 8 irons all day long. 180 down the hill. Beautiful.
Patrick Reed now at 13.
If there's a tee shot that fits his eye, it's this one right here. Probably down in that deep bunker.
HidekiMatsuyama's tee shot goes.
This will be aggressive.
Hanging left.
Yeah. You're better off in the bunker than where that ball ended up.
Yeah, not fun from over there. Matthew Smith out of long. Brendan Todd at the top of the leaderboard at -2. Plenty of golf in this opening round, the Memorial Tournament presented by Nationwide. Jon Rahm with a long way to go for birdie at 12.
Uphill swinging from his right.
Yeah, actually from this distance, you can give this one a pretty good go. There you go.
Oh!
Okay. Bogey at 1, a couple of birdie bounce backs.
Get some mojo going in this group. Collin Morikawa's birdie try.
Good look here, should move a little right. Oh, it actually moved left.
Putting's always the question mark with him, isn't it? Xander
I
Schauffele,
feel like
though.
there's a little added feature coming off of the front of this green. That there's a little knob that Xander's actually standing on right now that influenced Collin's putt. I didn't think they touched this green, but they regrassed everything, and that ball definitely in the past would have gone right. Three twos is pretty good on that hole.
Certainly better than the other group we're following in our featured group coverage. JustinThomas got a nice break from the first cut that bounced it back in there.
Yeah, I love it when they bounce off the curb, get back on the road. And again, you can see the softness of the greens, the rain leading up to this week.
Yeah, we didn't like Matsuyama's tee shot, and this is the reason why.
Actually, we can see a lot of the golf ball, but restricting backswing, but I think the contact was really good.
Whew.
Look at that.
He's showing us.
Contact great. Well done, well played. Masters champion, well done.
And he's just ho-hum. Another day at work, you know. It's got to be mentally exhausting to win your first major, and especially going home to your home country, quarantining. I mean, he's had a pretty intense few months.
Yeah, and, you know, much like Jordan Spieth, you know, after the Masters, of course, Jordan with the COVID positive test, and then
It was a little quick. His swing's always quick, but sometimes he doesn't finish the transition.
well, carried a long way, carried into the fairway, and now perfectly positioned, John. Big Spain gave that a big rip.
PatrickReed's third from off the green.
Just such a tidy short game. Saw that little check right there with that shot.
Collin Morikawa setting up his tee shot.
Yeah.
Asking for it to fade off that bunker.
His eyes stayed on that golf ball a long time and got a nice little kick there, Johnny.
I think he scared it over there.
Yeah.